Hey everybody, welcome back. You know, today is Good Friday, and sometimes we look back at life, and I know I do a lot, and I think about sin. Especially more today, I think about sin than I probably do most of the year. And it's sad because I think about it more today than I do most of the year. But it's a joyful time. Because if it wasn't for today, which led to the arrest and led to the crucifixion and led to the resurrection on Sunday, but again, in that 3 days of what Jesus did in the process of them 3 days, when he took in that dark hour all that sin that came into him and took it to the grave, left it at the grave, overcome that grave, defeated that grave, and went to hell and defeated hell and bought back our freedom from Lucifer. But now you think about sin, you think about every sin that Jesus took upon him. And so every sin that we ever done or could have done are still out there that we've never done. It doesn't give us the license to go do it. You know, there's been a lot of discussion lately about once saved, always saved. I say once saved, always saved is the biggest nonsense I've ever seen. Because the fact is, once saved, always saved gives you the license to go do whatever you want. That's living a fleshly life. When you are saved and you've given your life to Jesus, you're taking on a new life. If you're taking on a new life, that means your old life is dead. You have to deny yourself now from the things. Now, there is things in our lives that we don't necessarily have to get rid of if it aligns with God's idea of what we should or shouldn't be doing, such as the Ten Commandments. You know, it's so easy to, these days, it's more lustful than it ever has been. And it's so easy to watch movies that are not pleasing. It's so easy to fall back into your ways, and maybe bad language starts coming back. Because it wouldn't surprise me, because of all the nonsense on television, all the things around us. People, I mean, we walk into restaurants and we walk into stores, and you know, I'm in and out of stores a lot, and that's all I hear. Or I see people that are supposed to be working leaned over a clothes rack and watching something on their phone, and they don't care who's walking or who's around them. Because we have grown to the point where people are afraid to say something, I suppose. But then I go back to where the Father says, where the Lord says, if you are ashamed of me among men, then I will be ashamed of you to my Father. See, we're too busy focused on what this world still thinks about us. Because we're allowing God and Jesus to be taken out of everything, and we're sitting back going, well, hey, at least I'm making it to heaven. But are you truly making it? I beg the difference with some people, because they're too busy casting them stones. They're mightier than God himself. They're the judge. Now you may hear that they're solely giving their lives to Christ, and I will look at you and say, well, the proof's in the pudding. Because if I don't see the fruits, I don't believe you. See, we have to really pay attention to the person. You know, I can walk around and dress like a millionaire. I can go rent a nice, expensive car. But when it comes down time to living this lifestyle and having people see this lifestyle, I can't provide it. I can't provide that luxury house. I can't provide the things that I'm claiming to be of. But I can show the luxury of being a follower of Christ. And that's all I need. Life is too difficult as it is. We try to get through it and thinking we can lean on our own understanding. We're too busy filling our plates with more than what we're supposed to be. We're too busy planning our day. Some people woke up this morning and probably already started planning tomorrow and haven't got through today. Oh, I got this big meeting come Tuesday of next week. Who cares? That's Tuesday of next week. My goodness, we might be on total lockdown by Tuesday of next week. People are getting terrified because of this eclipse that's coming. Are we going to have 3 days of darkness? Are we going to lose power? Are we going to... I don't know, and I don't know. And really, I don't care. You know why? Because my Lord and Savior will provide everything I need. And I go to the bank on that, people. I really do. I believe that, and I trust that. Now, I might have to do work to have that power, and to have that heat, and to have that electricity. But that's okay. Day's wage for a day's pay. Christ paid it. But I know, just walking around the stores over the last week and a half and listening to the people, because I might be stopped for the night and I might be at a store instead of moving from that store. So I walk around and I just look at the stores and look at the clean, you know, how clean it is, or whatever the case may be. But the weird thing about it is when you sit, walk around and you start listening to people. You know, you hear some interesting conversations because you hear people talk about the holiday and who's coming over and what are they going to do and these type of things, and it just goes down this whole long and exhausting list. And many times I thought about cookouts and stuff for birthday parties and stuff like that, and you had to drag all this stuff out and drag it all back, and there really was nobody there to help you. It was horrible. But there was plenty of people there to eat the food, just not to help do anything else. Well, you want to be in the right groups. You want to be in that group that is talking about Jesus, that is leading us to where He's at. Having that daily walk with Him means you just may have to give up on some of your worldly ways. Because He paid that ultimate price. The little bit that we have to give up of our flesh is well worth it to me. may be people taken out of my life. There may be things taken out of my life. I'm okay with that. Because really, I don't want no disbelief person around me. I don't want somebody that is doubting on every single thing under the sun. I'll pray for them. I'll try to explain to them, but I'm not going to be around them because I'm tired of listening to it. So, you look at that, and here we are going, right, I don't want that either. Good. Because no one needs that kind of stuff in their lives. Because that kind of stuff leads you down that pathway to where Lucifer is. And if you go down that pathway, you may not make it back off that pathway. Now, I believe we have a darkness coming. And I believe the devil's going to show himself. It's just where you are in your walk. Whew. Some days, people, I rely on Jesus. And I'm glad that He allows me to rely on Him more than anything. Today's one of those days. It should be that way every day, but today's one of those days, you know. I'm so exhausted right now. I mean, I don't know what's going on. I am just beat, tired, and I think a lot of it has, I mean, you know, even the other day when we was at the pantry, sometimes Darlene's got to explain a lot of stuff all at once. Well, and I don't make excuses, people, but when you got a lot of stuff going on with your body, and my mind is like, my head is hurting, but yet, no matter what I'm doing, it wouldn't matter even if I stayed home. You still got pain. I mean, it doesn't stop, and that's why people, why do you do what you do? Well, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I could be laying down, I could be standing up, I could be running around in a circle. It is what it is. But she was explaining something, and I'm like, and she was all over the place with it to me, and I'm like, I'm lost. And she said something, and I kind of snapped back, and because, and it's not, I don't do it out of hatred. I don't do it out of disrespect. I just don't have the words sometimes, and maybe like a simple wow or something will come out of me, or oh, okay, or you know, how, whatever I say. But people receive it in a different way. Well, I've been asking Jesus to work on that and take that and change that. But my thing is also is sometimes we have to listen. You know, anymore, when someone starts over talking me, I just stop talking about whatever it is. And there's sometimes that I'm getting something from Jesus to tell people, and once that time is done, I'll just simply say, and I'm not trying to rub it in their face, all I'm saying is I don't, now's not the time, because I don't remember all of what he said. And I can't tell them that because I don't want them to feel even worse. But, you know, and there's a lot of that going on. I mean, yesterday at the pantry, it was so it was kind of chaotic, but it was kind of not. I mean, it was like you get some people with their attitudes that I don't get it. I mean, I don't get how people have authority issues, I guess is the better way to put it. And, you know, I don't go in there and disrespect Darlene. I don't go in there to overspeak her, because that's her place of employment. I mean, that's what she does now. But some of the people in there, my gosh, I don't even know why they show up. I mean, my thing is, if you have to come in there and you have to sit down, and this is not really a place where you can come and sit. There's not, I mean, there's a few things you can do where you can sit down and do it. But 90% of it, you're standing up, moving around, bending, doing whatever. But yet they talk about all the other stuff that they go and do, and I've asked, well, do you sit down when you're doing all this? No. And how long do you do it? Oh, it seems like a couple hours. Okay. Well, if you could do all that, then why can't you stand here for longer than what you're doing? But they got these boxes or assorted boxes and stuff like that where, you know, they got to be gone through and separated and put all the stuff into the proper places. And it just amazes me how when you watch people do things, there's no chairs and stuff around. Because your body and your flesh, your mind, takes over. See what I'm saying? Yesterday there was an instant that happened that pain goes beside you. You feel that pain go all the way up there. Some guy come up and he was, I guess, trying to volunteer. Well, first of all, you just can't come in somewhere to volunteer because you got to have background checks and all these things done. Now, I'm just showing you how evil is coming into these equations more and more and more in our lives. And I'm back here making these snack bags up, which you put a variety of different kinds of snacks in a bag, and when you start making these food carts up and stuff, they go in the carts. So I'm back here doing this, and I hear this guy just starts going. I don't know. I couldn't even tell you all the words that this guy was saying. I just know his voice was getting up there. And at this point, I said, you know, I've had enough of this. And all of a sudden, that pain is there, and that pain is driving me even more crazy. And now I'm sitting there getting closer to that door, and I let it rip, people. I mean, I don't like getting like that. That part of me, I try to keep buried. And you know, this guy's out there throwing his arms around and doing all this stuff. First of all, I can't stand that. I don't know what it is about that. And I just go into that fight mode. And we're eye to eye looking at each other, and I'm still rambling on at the mouth, what I'm good at doing, I guess. And there was a slight second when a guy backed up, and I'm thinking, here we go. Because if that guy would have threw his arms up, I probably would have reacted in a different way again. Now, granted, there's a lady bringing in 2 children. Now, I'm not for sure if this was the mother and her 2 children. They have to sit and listen to all this. I mean, for real, they're listening to all of this take place. plus the people in there. Now listen to what I'm about to tell you after all this was over. Now again, I'm not proud of all this, but I'm just saying you can see how we can overcome something fast, but the price you pay after is not worth it in more ways than one. First of all, your adrenaline gets up, my blood pressure gets up, the pain level in me is beyond where I should be. Not only that, the consequences of what I'm showing everybody, that this is a godly way, but again, I'm not going to allow Darlene to stand up there and some guy stand in her face and scream and yell and carry on. My thing is, I don't have a neutral, then drive. It just goes straight to drive. I mean, that's it. That fighter comes out and I'm on it. Plus, I've just been having enough of people lately. I think if I had to hear one more person call me fat last week, I think they probably would have been on the receiving end of everybody's nonsense of calling me fat. I mean, I just don't understand. And I'm looking at people when they're saying it like, oh God, give me the strength, because I don't want to react like them. Because I guarantee it, I know it's coming. But sometimes all this bottled up pressure, it's like one of those relief valves that allows the steam to come out, and sometimes it sounds like a whistle. So I go walking back, and I go back to doing what I'm doing, and this guy, because I can see the screens where he's at, and he's out there ranting and raving, throwing his arms up, and finally leaves. And one of the ladies that's supposed to be a Christian looks over at me and goes, you need to stop doing it, because the people will come back today and just shoot people. I said, are you kidding me? I'm not afraid of death. Only place he's sending me is home. And you're a believer, and you fear what man can do? I fear what God can do, and that's sending me to hell. And she just looked at me. I said, I can't believe that you fear going, then the only reason why you would fear death is because you're not sure where you're going. There's a difference in having a fear of God, where we can go, but I don't fear death because I know where I'm going. So then there's these instances that's I don't even know if that's the right word. These situations that take place along last week, and I don't put up with a lot of stuff from people. Not that I expect anybody to put up with anything that I do, that whatever. I'm nobody, and if people talk to me, they talk to me. If they don't, they don't. My thing is, this guy has called me a liar too many times, and he's gotten stupid with stupidness too many times. And he finally did it one too many times. Instead of answering the phone, he's one of those ones that sends you a text message but won't answer a phone because he's a coward. But then he's going to sit there and tell me how hurt he is. Are you kidding me? Right. Okay. It's funny how evil always flips it around and tries to make it look like it's you. You're the problem. Some cases might be. But in these cases, no. But I'll tell you right now, I know my limitations on things. I know when, especially, it's hard to explain what you go through all day long. And it's like, I do know this. I'm not in the place where I can go out there and run around and go toe to toe. But I do know all I physically have to do is get a hold of somebody. Once I wrap my hands around them like a python or a boa constrictor and start constricting that energy out of you, that's all I need to do is get a hold of somebody. We sit and listen to people say, well, I'll kill you. Will you? Okay. And I'm supposed to be what? Scared? Christ went to the cross. Christ overcame that cross. When I accepted my new life, I knew I was going to have to go through things in life. I knew I was going to have to learn to turn the cheek in life. Not to be confrontational, not to go into that fight mode. I knew I was going to have to be able to forgive these people, which I do. But I still don't believe, because I don't believe half of them are what they say they are. Now, I had somebody send me a message about, because they're around the Akron area. I was like, okay. And they was looking to go into church, and they wanted to know what church I was speaking about, because they didn't want to go into another church and be filled of nothing but Jesus. And that church is Church on the Boulevard, Kimmer Boulevard, real close down by Manchester Road. While they were all casting stones, their whole family, even the pastor, was upside down. Now, supposedly he's off the alcohol and he's doing everything right. I don't know. But my son is married to one of the daughters that took what she wanted to take, and everybody ran with it, and they all casted stones. But I guess what they were accusing me of was way more conviction than what they do. You got to be very careful with that. Because Jesus says we are to love our enemies. That's the only reason why I even accept it. Because trust me, I had a dream one day that I walked into that church and just let them all have it. But I carried a bag of stones with me. And I was walking around handing stones to people. And I went up there and they got this cross on the wall, and I went up and stood by the cross underneath of it. And I said, "Thou without sin may throw the stone at me." And how funny was it that not one of them could stand up? Bunch of hypocrites, if you ask me. Now, I know some of you may say, what if your son watches this video? What difference does it make? Because people forget about the hurt they put on you. People forget about the falsely accusing. People forget about how I look at it. It's all about what they want to see. Everybody's the victim, and that's why that's where you know where the devil is involved. It becomes about you. Instead of asking, they believe things, and that's where it goes in. Instead of asking God what he needs today, we just assume that we're doing the right things. God sent his son to be the ultimate sacrifice. 33 and a half years, Jesus fulfilled that purpose. Some of us are in our 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and we still haven't got to that point. But Jesus did everything right. And Jesus went to the cross. Are you going to the cross? Or are you going to stand over there and say, well, I'll do everything but that? I want to go to heaven, but I don't want to go right now. I still got things I want to do. Well, that's the biggest nonsense I've ever heard ever, too. Not me. If you come and said right now, are you ready? Yes, sir. Let's go. Let me wash your feet on the way. I don't know, people. There's going to be a rude awakening, and people are going to be left behind. I started telling Darlene about this vision I had a couple nights ago, and still never finished it. But again, it was about the children. And I've had similar ones to this. And it all has to do with standing in hell. Now, I know some of you might sit there and go, well, what are you doing in hell? Well, I would have to tell you the whole entire dream. I guess it's kind of like the same concept when I had that dream about New York and all that. What am I doing there? Leading people away from the wickedness. I guess it's like having dreams about the bridges falling down. And look, I just heard of another one that these barges, these containers were on this barge thing and it hit it because they would stack too high or it didn't open or whatever the situation was, but it still fell into the water. Now, I'm not saying that every bridge, it's still bridges. I've seen multi-bridges falling into water and people getting hurt. Well, unfortunately, it's happened. And really, even if I could give warning, I don't know if people would even listen. I'm trying to give you a warning that Christ is coming, and not a lot of people want to hear it. I had a person ask me a while back and go, I'll give you this. You definitely take a lot of risk of going on a channel like that and doing and speaking what you speak. I ain't taking a risk. Everything I say, I believe. Everything I speak about, I have seen it, or I lived through it. So where am I taking a risk? Warning people that the devil's real and God's real and Jesus real, heaven's there and hell's there. One of the two places you're going, there's no in between. I'm good, I'm saved, I'm this, I'm that. There is no place that says, okay, well, this is the I'm good place. You are neither 100% bad or 100% good. You're 50-50. Here you go. We got a special place for you. Wrong, wrong, wrong. You believed in once saved, always saved, you're going to be left here. Because you're still living a sinful, selfish life. Because I accept Jesus Christ, it gives me the license to go out and do whatever the heck I want, and how I want, when I want, where I want. No, it doesn't. The Bible's full of it. The same lady I was talking about was yesterday talking about afraid of this guy coming back and shooting up the place. Very one went and asked her pastor about once saved, always saved. Well, he said the Bible clearly speaks about it. Well, if once saved, always saved, then there's no need for hell. There's no need to live a godly life, because then we could just correct ourselves at the end and go, well, hey, I believe in you, but I want to go out and have my fun. Once saved, always saved. Woohoo! We'd be in trouble if that was the case. So, I think a lot of people should take a good hard look at this Passover. Well, I mean, not Passover. Good Friday and this Resurrection Week. And I know some of you are going to be doing egg hunts and Easter baskets and dinners and whatever it may be. I know there's churches having egg hunts. But let me tell you something about churches having these egg hunts. Don't believe it. Don't even go to such a place. What do you mean? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because they got hidden motives. And there you go. That's another reason why I don't go to many churches. What's the purpose of the egg? Well, it gets people in and we can teach them about Jesus, but not at the time. We'll open a welcome letter for them to come, an invitation. They don't need no damn invitation to come into a building. You stand up there all mightier than thou, but yet are not so legit with your walk either. Because is that not a trick of the devil, then I don't know what is. There you go. We're going to have a big old Easter egg hunt. But then we're going to tell you about Jesus. Now, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I just totally disagree with it. I totally disagree with that trunk or treat. I totally disagree with using Christ's birth for the wrong reasons. But if I put up a tree because I celebrate the tree, then I'm wrong. But if I put up a tree knowingly what Jesus paid and what his birth represents, and I give out gifts, well then, I guess I can't give out gifts I can't give gifts to people on their birthdays then. See, Jesus' birth was a gift to us. God gave us that perfect gift. And I want to give that gift away to everybody. How many of you live by holidays? Oh, it's Sweetie's Days. I got to go out and get my spouse something. And then you're disappointed because they didn't get you what you prefer. Well, then I recommend you just go out and buy what you prefer and have this person buy what they prefer, and then you guys got the perfect gifts. You just saved a bunch of wasteful time of returning things. Or how many of you live by the Hallmark cards? You got a shoebox that's full of them. I'd hate to see your basement. Because you can't tell somebody in your life the words that are on that card. We can't tell Jesus sometimes how we feel. We can't sit with Jesus long enough to tell him anything because we just, well, you already know, Jesus, here you go, fix it. Well, he didn't put you there. You put yourself there. Sometimes you got to do the work to get out of where you're at. Just saying. So honestly, take time this weekend and look around you. Just pay attention to what people are watching. Pay attention to what they're listening to. If you got a lot of family coming over, pay attention. But also pay attention to your life. What you're doing and what you're allowing to take place daily. So that being said, I wish you all a very blessed Easter. Hopefully you're celebrating it for the right reasons. And if you are having family over, hopefully you can get time to talk a lot about what Jesus did. Maybe teach some of the younger generation there's hope. There's hope out there. We're not supposed to be fearful because he paid it. It's because of this we will not rot in hell unless we put ourselves in hell. And yes, continue on some of them pathways we're on, and you're putting yourself there. It's a whole different story. But either way, God bless you guys. Have a great resurrection. Examine yourselves. Pray, but be still long enough to listen to him speak. Love you. Until the next one.